Welcome back to my channel, Sumates. So in this tutorial we'll be learning how to make a darted corset dress with ready-made bra cup. Okay, so if this is what you love to learn, please stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. So this is the dress we are going to be making, and this is the final outcome after I was done making it. Okay, so note that I also have tutorial on how I made the draping around the bust waistline of the dress, and also the beautiful sleeve you have here. I also made a tutorial on it. Okay, so I want you to stay tuned to the end of this tutorial to learn how to do all this. So the first thing I'm going to do is to get my paper ready, and that is what you see on my cutting table right here. And I'm going to pin this paper down on my table, and the next thing I'm going to be doing is to mark my measurements. Okay, so I'm going to place my tape on my shoulder line, which is my starting line here, and I'm going to mark my chest line, which is from the shoulder to the chest. Okay, so you can actually use your shoulder measurement divided by 2 to get this your chest line. Okay, so after marking my chest line, I'm going to mark from my shoulder to my bust point. Then I'll also mark from my shoulder to my under bust line. Then I'll mark from my shoulder to my waist. Then the length of the dress, or the upper part of the dress we're working with. So remember, like you see on the thumbnail, the dress here has a bust waistline. Okay, so we're also going to add allowance for that. Okay, so I was done marking, and I proceeded to rule the lines into a straight line. And the next thing I'm going to do is to label the lines after ruling it into a straight line. Okay, so from my waist I'm going to measure 6.5 inches for my bust waistline. So this 6.5 inches actually covers my bust waistline allowance and my allowance. Okay, that the dress allowance. Okay, that is the half length allowance. I don't know if you get. So the 6.5 inches is for the bust waistline and allowance. Okay, so that's being said, I won't be adding extra allowance again. So I'll label it as length, and here waist. Then here I'll label it as under bust. Then here is my bust point line, then my chest line, then here my shoulder line. Okay, so I was not doing that, and the next thing I'm going to do now is for us to start drafting properly. Okay, so we're going to be drafting the front part, as you already know, on this paper here. So I'll go right away to my shoulder line and divide my shoulder measurement by 2, and I'm going to impute it there, and whatever I impute on my shoulder I'll also impute it on the chest line here, and I'll get my ruler and I'll rule it into a straight line. Okay, so having done that, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to get my shoulder slope, and I'm going to do that by coming down here around this shoulder line by 1 inch. Then I also get my neck width, which is 3 inches. Then I'm going to connect to my shoulder slope as seen. Okay, as shown, sorry. And the next thing I'm going to do is to divide what I have here into 2 and get the midpoint. Then from here I'm going to come in by 0.5 inches, then measure my bust circumference divided by 4, mark here. Then I am going to connect the lines to get my front armhole curve. Okay, so I was not connecting, and the next thing I'm going to do now is to get my darts. So I'll measure my nipple to nipple divided by 2, and I'll mark it here. So I'll mark it all on the under bust, on the waist, and also on my length, then my bust point as well. After which I'll proceed to connect into a straight line with my ruler. Okay, so I was done doing that, and the next thing I'm going to do is from the under bust I'll go in and out of the line by 0.5 inches and do the same thing on the waistline, then on the length as well. Okay, so I will connect with my ruler this way, and I'll do the same thing on this other side as well. Okay, so now the next thing is to get my ruler and connect to the bust point. Okay, okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to get my side dart, and I'm going to come down by 1 inch, sorry, on my bust point line, I'll come down here by 1 inch and connect to the bust point line. So this is the difference between my back half length and my front half length. Okay, so next I'm going to impute my bust circumference divided by 4 and mark it. Then I also mark my under bust circumference divided by 4 and mark it, and I'll replace my dart. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to mark my waist circumference divided by 4 and mark it. Then I decided to snatch my waist circumference divided by 4. I snatched it by 2 inches. Okay, so if I divide my waist circumference by 4, whatever I get, I subtracted 2 inches, 0.5 inches from there. Okay, so that is what I did. So at this point, my marker was not working well, so I needed to get another paper, and that is what I did. And I continued marking my hip waist circumference divided by 4 my waistline, and my hip circumference divided by 4 on the length of my dress. Okay, so I'm going to get my ruler and I'm going to connect the lines together. Okay, so if you're snatching your waist by 2, what you're going to do is that you're going to subtract 2 inches from what you have. For example, if your waist circumference is 30 and you subtract 2 inches, you have 28, right? So you can go ahead and divide that 28 into 4 and mark exactly what you get, which will be 7 on your waist circumference. Okay, so I hope you get the sense of that. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to open my side dart and close it. Okay, so I'm just going to slash through one of the lines I marked. Okay, and I'm going to close it. So I want you to pay close attention to this in case if you don't know how to close your side dart. Okay, so I'm going to get my tape and tape it down. Okay, without taping it down, it's definitely not going to be in place. Okay, especially as we didn't cut the waist dart. Okay, so I'm going to get my tape and I'll just tape it down. Okay, so I went on to tape it down, as you can see. So see this puffy here, there is no problem with that. Okay, it won't affect our work. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to come up by 1 inch here. You can do 2 inches or 1.5. It's just to give this hem line a little curve. Okay, remember we actually won't be working with the whole of it. Okay, because it's a dress, not skirt and blouse, but there's a need to do this. Okay, and I went on to do that, to slope it. Okay, to just give it that nice look and that nice shape. Okay, so at this point I'm going to bring in the cup we're working with, and this is what we have. So this is not a push-up bra cup. Okay, so this cup here is not a push-up bra cup, but we are going to snatch it into a push-up bra cup. Okay, so what you're going to do is that you're going to fold it into 2 here. Okay, this upper part, the upper part, okay, of the bra cup, I'm just going to push divide it into 2 this way, and I'm going to measure 0.5 inches here. Okay, so I'm going to mark this line with my pen. So I measured 0.5 inches and mark it, and I came down by 2 inches and I also mark it, as you can see. So I'm just going to connect it to the 2 inches like the way we connect our dart. Okay, so I'm going to connect it that way, and I'll go back to my machine to sew it, and I'll bring it back for us to see. Okay, so I was now sewing it, and I'm just going to trim off the excess here. Okay, I'm going to trim off excess here, and I did the same thing on the second part of the cup, and I'll trim off the excess around there. I'm going to open it up. Okay, so you see the push-up effect has already come into place. Can you see it is looking like a push-up bra cup? Okay, so there's no need of this snatching of the darts if you are using a push-up bra cup. Okay, so when you get to the market, you ask of a push-up bra cup and you're able to get it, please don't add any dart to it. But if you didn't get, buy any bra cup that you have and do this, and it will give you the look. Okay, so to get our bust bridge, I went down from my bust point line by 1 inch. I went up again by 1 inch. Okay, that is the line you're seeing here. So it definitely means that you can use any of this line for your bust. Okay, for your bra cup. Okay, so I'm going to be using the line, the 1 inch below the bust point line, and I'm just going to come in by 0.5 inches this way, and I'm going to be placing my cup on it. Okay, so I want you to pay very close attention to this, especially if you're finding this style difficult. Okay, I want you to pay close attention. So you see, I place it and ensuring that the bra cup, the down part of the bra cup, touches the dart, that is the the under bust line. Okay, can you see it? I'm trying to ensure that it touches the under bust line. Okay, that is very important. Okay, that it should sit on the under bust line. By so doing, it will be able to accommodate the bust perfectly. Okay, So I'm going to just hold it in place with my hand, okay? So you make sure you don't press it, because if you press it, it changes its position, okay? So I'm not going to press it. I'm just going to hold it down, and I'm going to trace the shape of this cup on my paper, okay? So that is what I'm going to do, and I want you to pay very good attention to, very close attention to the way I am doing it. It's not difficult, okay? So I'm going to trace the shape round, okay, round the cup, okay. Okay, so I was not tracing the shape, and as you can see, this is the shape of our cup, okay. So now at this point, the next thing I'm going to do now is to use my marker to trace the shape very well, so that you can be able to see what it look like. Okay, I was done tracing it, and you can see what we have. Okay, so remember I said this squeezing around the cup here does not affect the cup in any way. So the next thing I'm going to do is this, on this chest line here, I'm going to come in by 1.5 inches, okay, and I will mark it. Then on the chest line, I'm going to come down by 0.5 inches, sorry, and I'm just going to connect it this way to the bra, okay. I'm going to connect it to the bra cup, okay, to get the proper shape of our yoke, okay. Can you see what we have here? Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do right now is to add the 0.5 inches around for allowance to join in the bra cup with the main bodies, okay. So I was done marking the 0.5 inches round. Can you see it? And the next thing I'm going to do now is to measure my remeasure my waist dart, okay. So I'm going to connect this way. Can you see the way I place my ruler? I'm going to kind of reconnect the dart so that the it doesn't affect the bra cup that we see here. Can you see what we have? Okay, so can you see how the arrow is? So I'm canceling this line, okay, because the new line with the green marker is what we're going to be working with, okay. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to get my neck depth, and I'm going to measure 3 inches, and I'll get my ruler and I'll connect it to the 3 inches neck width, okay. So this neck depth is standard neckline, as in it is going to be temporary as well, okay, because I'm going to be working with another neck depth at the end. So I'll proceed to cut it out, and after cutting it out, I'm going to tell you the next thing we are going to do. Okay, so remember I'm cutting on the new line I mark after the 0.5 inches allowance. Can you see? So you can actually add this on your cup, okay, on your main fabric when you're cutting, or on your paper, okay. So I just like to add it on my pattern because that is just what I prefer, okay. Okay, so can you see what we have? Can you see the shape? Can you see the beautiful look? So can you see my back up on it as it look perfectly nice? So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out this dart here, and I'm just going to cut it out here. Remember the green marker is what we are using now, okay. So I'm just going to cut it out all the way down to the length, okay. So at this point you can see that the dart will not affect the shape of our bra cup in any way. It won't affect our dress, okay. It will just give it that beautiful shape around there. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to be my brack up on it, place it on it, and I'll show you. Can you see? So like I stated, it did not affect it. It won't affect it, okay. So I'm going to set it aside right now, and it will be time for us to start drafting our back parts. Okay, so I have this paper that I've set aside, and I proceeded to mark and label the lines: my shoulder line, my chest line, my bust point, my waist, and my allowance line. And I also set aside 1.5 inches here, okay. So from my shoulder to my chest line, then bust point, waist, and also added 1 inch allowance to it, as you can see. Then I have 1.5 inches here for my zipper allowance, which I also label. Can you see it? So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2 on the shoulder line and on the chest line, and I'm going to connect into a straight line. So I'm going to get my shoulder slope of 1 inch and my neck width of 3 inches. So after marking on it, I proceeded to connect like this. And the next I'm going to do is to measure what I have on this line, get the midpoint and mark on it. After marking on the midpoint, I'm going to measure my bust circumference divided by 2, and I'll mark it on the chest line. Then I'll get my curve ruler and connect to form our back arm hook curve. Okay, so I was not doing that, and the next I'm going to do is to get my dart. So I'm going to measure my bust span, that is nipple to nipple divided by 2, mark it on the bust point line, on the chest line, and on my waist and allowance line as well. And I'm going to connect into a straight line with my straight ruler. So I was not connecting, and the next thing I'm going to do is to go in and out of that line on the waist side. I'll go in and out by 0.5 inches this way, and I'm going to bring back the straight ruler and connect all the way to the chest line. So having done that, I'll be proceeding to get my bust circumference divided by 4. I'm going to impute that on the bust point line and impute my waist circumference divided by 4 on the waistline and also allowance line. Then replace my dart that I have on the waistline, which is 1 inch. And I'm going to use my ruler to connect all the lines together. So the next thing to be done here is to get my neck depth for the back. So I want to make use of 2 inches for my neck depth for the back. So I'm going to mark it, get my curve ruler and connect it down this way. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to extend this connection as well. So the 1.5 inches zipper allowance that we have here. Okay, so I was not doing that. And the next thing I'm going to do now is to get a styling for my back. So I came down from the neck depth again by 2 inches, and I'm just going to mark it around the zipper allowance line here. Then on the chest line, I'm going to determine how wide I want the styling on my back to be. Okay, so I want it to be 3 inches. So I place my ruler here starting from the zipper allowance line, and I mark 3 inches. So next, I'll grab my curve ruler and I'm just going to connect it this way to give me this beautiful shape you can see here. So this is what we have here. So next, I'm going to eliminate the zipper bulge around the waistline of my paper. So I'm going to go in by 0.75 to eliminate zipper bulge. Okay, I will mark that point. Then I am going to get my ruler as well to connect it up around the chest line area this way. So by so doing, you eliminate zipper bulge around the waistline of your back. Okay, so that has been done already, as you can see. And the next thing I'm going to do is to add my allowance. Okay, so this is actually a personal choice. If you like, you add your allowance on your paper. If you like, you can leave that till when you transfer your paper to your main fabric, then you can impute that. Okay, but mine, for the purpose of this tutorial and for today, I prefer to add my allowance on my paper for the back. So I went on to add 2 inches allowance, and I'm just going to connect it this way. And once I was done doing that, it'll be time to cut out our pattern. Okay, so I'll grab my scissors and I'll cut out. Okay, so if you've watched up to this point and you're yet to subscribe to my channel, go ahead and do that. Okay, so I am going to be closing the waistline. Okay, that is because I don't want to have that line, I don't want to have that stitched line. Okay, that line on my waistline, and that's why I'm going to do that. It's also a personal choice. If you like, you can close it. If you like, you can sew your dart on it. So can you see how I cut out this part here, I'm going to remove the zipper allowance around here. Can you see it? Okay, then cut out this remaining paper here that we don't need. Okay, then the next thing I'm going to do is to slash through the waistline, and I'm going to close the waist that like I have earlier said. Okay, so if you're yet to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe just as I said. Like this video, and you can also drop a comment for me and share it to people who might need it as well. Okay, so I'm going to get my tape and tape it down. Okay, so after that, the next thing we are going to be doing is to cut our bra cup. Okay, so I'm going to get this fabric that I'm going to be using, and it will be time to cut our bra cover. Okay, sorry about that, our bra cover, not our bra cup. Okay, so here is the satin I'm going to use to cover my bra, and I proceeded to fold it into four, as you can see here. Okay, so from this end here, I am going to be measuring 4.5 inches round. Okay, so after measuring, I cut it out, as you can see, and I'm just going to open it up here. Can you see what we have? And I'm going to mark this midpoint here. Okay, so after marking on the midpoint, I'm going to come down here by 1.5 inches and mark. Then next, I'm going to come down here and mark. Then after which, I'm going to connect it to the midpoint. Okay, so I'm connecting it to the midpoint here. Okay, so I'll also connect this side and I'll cut it out. Okay, so I'll be cutting out four of these and also cut out the lining for it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate. So stay tuned so that when I drop the sewing tutorial, you will also get notified. Okay, so I'll proceed to cut out and I'll open it up for you to see what it looked like.